your situation in a moment does not justify character, because that's a character flaw. People need to understand, because sometimes I feel we go around calling people my friend, but are we really friends?
Like you need to differentiate.
Exactly.
Are you an
Acquaintance or are you a friend?
How do you navigate that balance between career and still having thriving friendships and relationships?
For there to be a seamlessness and a sameness in terms of our friendship, despite the different paths that we are going through, despite the different things that are happening in our lives, we have to be able to be running towards the same path. So different journeys, but we're on the same path.
We're on the same.
That's the only thing that will ground you. Like the fundamentals, whatever brought you together, are we sharing the same ideals? That's the only thing that will be able to make your friendship stand post campus.
Let me pose a question to you. What does that intentionality look like? Because I don't like just vague words or just the word itself. What does intention look like in friendships?
Love it. And as I've mentioned, you see that thing that my friend used to do, that I'm booking your calendar to be able to set timer. That is intentionality. Intentionality looks like I'm having a busy day and I did not manage to pick up your call, but I have the courtesy to send a text and call back later on. It's something very subtle, but it shows intention that you called me, I wasn't able to, but I'm reaching back out to you. It's not, sometimes when you talk about these things, you think about grand gestures, but it's in the small things. It's creating time. It's remembering the important things, events in your friends' lives, and showing up when it matters most.
What's up, lovely human beings? Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Melvin on Cloud Stories Africa. Now, it's the month of love, so you definitely know where the conversations are going. And for this month, we're particularly focusing on not just romantic love, but loving on yourself, loving on your friends, healing, and just allowing yourself to show up as a wholesome human being. And to everyone out there, considering that this episode is actually dropping on Valentine's Day, I love you guys. Luala!
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I am really looking forward to this conversation. I am looking forward to the month of love. I love love. So I think you chose me for the best month.
Yes.
So,
I love having conversations with you. But even before we get to the conversation, I just want to say how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
I am so proud of you for having the courage to start your business and for sitting down right here and reflecting on the very moment that we shared our dreams to each other.
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
It was like 2 years back during one of our friends' launch, her business launch. And we were sitting down at a table and I just told you, I want to start a podcast and I want it to be about African stories. Stories that empower youth, that help them to transform their lives. And you're sharing a similar idea with me, because at the end of the day, we want to be of service to the world and we want to leave an impact in the world.
True.
And right now, we are sitting down here, two women living in the realities of their dreams.
Amen. Living in answered prayers. I say living in answered prayers. That's what we are doing right now. And I think it's very surreal. 2 years looks like it's far back, but it's just like the other day. It's just the other day.
That's the thing.
Cloud Stories has now been a year.
No, it's actually 6 months.
6 months.
6, 7
That's
months.
That's the amount of impact you have that it looks like it's a year.
Oh, thank you, so kind.
But yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward.
I'm also very excited about today's conversation because it's about adult friendships. And this is a reality that so many of us are currently navigating.
True.
And even as we approach today's conversation, number one, there's something that I want to make very clear. When it comes to certain conversations, there's a level of maturity, honesty, and grace that is required for you to even digest those conversations and make sense of them. Because what we're doing here today, Luala, it's not from a point of judgment. It's not to force our ideas on people. It's to have a conversation and borrow from each other and see how to make our lives better.
Sure, I agree with you.
So, when I sent you the brief for this particular episode, I did the work, sent it to you, moved on with my life. But then later, now when I came to actually sit down, do the research, put in the work behind, tunafanyanga kazi huko behind the camera. So when I went to actually put in the work, I went through this and it touched my heart in a different way. I mean, I'm the one who wrote it the first time. The second time around reading it, it really touched my heart in a different way.
It was very powerful.
Yeah. And it summarizes the conversation that we're having here today. So allow me to read it to the audience.
Please.
Then we get into the conversation.
Go right ahead.
Okay. So this is what it says. Adult friendships change not because love disappears, but because life expands. Take a moment to reflect on that. As we grow, proximity fades, responsibilities increase, and emotional capacity shifts. Careers demand time. Personal growth moves at different paces, making room for comparison, guilt, and unspoken resentment. Navigating adult friendships requires intention, honest communication, and grace, allowing for friendship to evolve without forcing sameness. It's about choosing presence over pressure, releasing guilt around capacity, understanding that some friendships are meant for seasons, not forever. Growing apart does not mean failing each other. It means learning how to love differently. That is so powerful. Because again, adult friendships are a beautiful, chaotic mess.
Yes, they are.
But what makes it all worth it is, let me start with some research. Research was done, and it shows that people with positive and supportive relationships have increased mental well-being. There's reduced risk of depression, anxiety.
True.
And even it reduces your chances of contracting chronic illnesses. Can you think about that?
So
I've never thought about it that way.
You're saying I can fail to get diabetes because I have
you have
friendship.
Yes, quality friendships. See, it's also quality friendships. Yes.
Quality.
And here's the catch. People with low social connections have twice as much a chance of premature death.
Oof.
Just think about that. That is just as risky as smoking 20 cigarettes in a day.
And here you are, you haven't smoked any cigarette, but you have a chance of dying. Guys, go out and network and
go out and make friends. And so that's why this conversation is so important and so close to my heart, because I feel like I'm also living in this reality. And for me, friendships for the longest time took a backseat because of how I'm raised. I'm just one of those kids who, always got good grades, you're focused, you have this kind of life that people see for you and you see for yourself. And so for me, anything that did not speak to this focus, anything that didn't speak to pushing my career forward took a backseat. It wasn't a priority for me. And that especially happened after we guys left campus, because the social architecture, the infrastructure that has been set for you to interact with friends, to, create thriving friendships, kind of crumbles at that point.
True, it changes. Now you're no longer in the same spaces. Now you have to actually intentionally look for people to be able to connect with them.
Yes. Love becomes a choice. Friendship becomes a choice. But let's start with campus. When life was still, I don't want to call it good because life is still good, but life was easy.
Life was good.
Life was easy.
Yeah.
So let's go back to campus. What was your favorite memory with your friends?
Ooh, okay. This is a tough one because I have many.
Yeah.
But I'll speak to the friends who are with me to date, because now those are the memories I'd love to cherish. But I'd say, this is bad, I don't know if my parents would say this, but skipping class to play cards.
Skipping class?
Just the communion of being together. Where we could go to someone's room and just have a good time and get lost in just being. Were we kids in campus? Can I say we were kids in campus?
We were kids. Honestly, we were still kids. Yes, we're children.
Yes. So I'd say those moments when you really didn't have to, I just walk to your room and I'd find you there. We'd talk or we'd play. It was light. I missed the lightness that was in campus when I didn't have to think about, what am I going to eat? Because I know my parents are going to send me money. So there were no bills. So even friendships were more authentic. Because you see, at this particular point of your life, it's not like I'm really looking for something from you or you're looking for something from me. We are just going through the same journey. It's like the playing field was leveled.
Yes.
So we are both having the same experiences. So even your friendships are more authentic. So I loved those moments when I'd just be in rooms with my friends, having conversation, dancing it out. Oh my God. And just engaging. So those are the things I miss.
I don't know if you remember the kind of person I was in campus, but when you said that your best memory, and you hope your parents don't see it, was playing cards, or rather skipping class to play cards, I don't think you remember who I was in campus. I had fun. I had fun. So my parents just don't watch this episode.
But we got good grades, right?
Yes, we got good grades. And the thing that really, when I was looking back, for me, the wake-up call was about a year ago, and I'm going to share about that later on in the episode.
Okay.
But when I remember campus, I got really good grades. I don't know if you remember, but I was like best marketing student from our class and things like those. I got good grades, but I don't remember ever having a book and reading. Not because I didn't sit down to read. I know I sat down to read. Just that the memories that keep jumping back in my head and the memories that have stuck with me is when I was with my friends. It's in the morning. You guys have just woken up.
Yeah.
You switch on your laptops, you start watching movies, then lunchtime comes, you guys go have lunch, you come back, you have a conversation for like 3 hours, you play cards, and then in the evening, it's not like it's different. You go eat supper, you come back, and then we watch Big Bang Theory.
Let me tell you, you've said something, then I remember that memory. This is embarrassing, but well.
Yeah.
So, you said that you don't remember the time you had a book. So I remember my first day in campus when I joined, and I was just like, then my mind was just, you go get the degree, get the academic papers. So there's this one time, and there's this class that
you used to sit in front during exams. I
remember. So I remember there's one time I decided I'm not going to stay with my friends. And you know how we used to do our assignments, like you're doing it together, and then I decided I want to exclude myself. I don't want to copy anyone's paper, and I just want to focus on what the assignment is.
Yes.
I failed that exam.
That one exam. Degree ni
harambe. So it wasn't even, I thought that, I wanted to do it on my own. And I remember that particular day, I woke up, I think I used to wake up at 5 to read. Like, nileta tabia za high school to campus. And I remember my roommates were just like, girl, like, chill,
Yeah.
So I remember that day, when we got our results, and the guys we used to discuss with, everyone had a 9 out of 10. I was there with my 6 out of 10 of honesty. Not that it's...
No, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, honestly. Yeah.
I think if I reflect upon that right now, I see the importance, as you've said, like there's, even as we move through life, as we move through adulting, as much as there's the seriousness of what life is, please create moments and pockets of just being light and being a kid again. Like, living life again.
Yes.
And I think I remember that day because my friends came and laughed at me in my room because I cried. It was a cat. I'm just like, as an adult, I'm like, what the hell,
But if we're in first year, it makes sense because, at that time, for me particularly when I went to campus, I don't think I carried my high school behaviors because for me it was unlearn everything that you got there, create new experiences. And I think that's one of the reasons campus ended up being one of the best experiences in my life. But also, if you're in first year, makes sense because you've been taught to move in certain styles,
Yeah, you live it. I think I'm learning.
Yeah.
With every new place you go, learn to, how can I say, reset. Not to forget your values and everything, but reset so that you can be able to learn and enjoy, be present in that moment. Like a high school went, you're in campus, be present in that moment and get to just enjoy that particular. But don't worry, that was the turning point. I promise I never woke up at 5 again to read. But you passed.
That's what I'm surprised about. You woke up at 5. Campus.
In first year for a count.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I think unless the days when we had classes at 8, bare minimum waking up was at like 10. But then I feel like there was an evolution because that was first year.
Yes.
And then we got to third year. No, it was 2.2. So for anyone watching this that is not from Kenya, 2.2 ideally is your second year, second semester. So in a year, you have 2 semesters. So we got to 2.2, COVID hit, guys went home. People started discovering themselves, what they wanted to do in life. People got serious businesses, people started getting serious jobs. And then by the time we were coming back, I think it was in 3.2, guys now had a whole other disposition to them. Friendships, you know, when we're in first year, it used to be like a group of 20 people. When you guys are going for lunch, you are arranged in a line and then you're all blocking the road, you know. But then by the time we got back, there seemed to be smaller alliances. People had now started, you know, engaging from the way you relate to each other in terms of personalities, the jobs that you're chasing. Life started to look different from how we knew it when we were now a little bit younger. And I think that just progressed as we went along, because by the time we got to like 4.1, 4.2, the guys who now had jobs were friends with each other. The guys who didn't have jobs seemed to be also friends with each other. You know, guys in businesses now seemed to like click and, you know, align in terms of even the conversations. Not to say that the setup completely changed. At that point, we still didn't feel it, because some of that architecture or some of those infrastructures were still there, because you guys still had your meals together. You guys woke up at the same time. You still had the same classes. You are almost moving in a similar manner in life. And so until now, we got to 4.2 and guys left school and the great scattering now happens, as Mel Robbins likes to put it. The great scattering starts happening, you know? And guys who have, because when we're in fourth year, I feel like the jobs are not even as intense. Like people used to have, you know, you have a funny job at a growing startup. So it's kind of, you know, like it's not yet been fully figured out. But then by the time we were finishing school, KPMG opened their portals, PwC opened their portals, Deloitte, guys are now interviewing for very serious jobs at very serious organizations. And it's not a bad thing. But then guys now started going seriously into career development. And that for me felt like the moment, you know, life now changed and it stopped becoming a group activity and it started becoming an individual thing.
Yeah, I think, you know, when we used to go to school, and there's this thing that our parents used to tell us, or your teachers, every time, is that, ulingia kwa hii gate, peke yako, na utatoka, peke yako. It's a statement that gets thrown around, but it's true. It's actually the reality of life. And sad to say that, life happened differently, and the great scattering indeed happened. And I think if you're in our school of business, the big four that's where you needed to be. Like, you're coming from business school, that's where you needed to be. But I think it's also important to recognize the fact that I truly envy and admire the people who from the get-go knew this was not the path I would want to go down. You know, like they had the understanding, they had known themselves to an extent that they were cognizant that I don't think this is where I want to go to. Me being one of them, I just knew that these are amazing farms. I would like to, but is this really where I would want to be? And I think that also forms the basis of your friendships, because ideally, it's very easy to see all my friends are getting into this. I too want that. There's a sort of FOMO that comes with it. I felt, as much as I knew this is not what I wanted, I felt the FOMO of not being
get what you're saying.
I know what you're saying. My career journey was very different. And I was fortunate enough to start working from school in my fourth year. But my job was purely remote. And it wasn't your regular, it wasn't remote company Kenya, no. It was remote company abroad, and it was a startup. So even the dynamics of how it was run was different from how guys who are joining maybe the big four or the other corporates would do it. And you would feel that kind of, am I really on the right path? Which will bring you to questioning, am I really on the right journey or not? So I think one thing, even as we speak about friendship, that I feel for me, it's very key. Even before you become maybe the dynamic duo or you get into that group of friends, I think it's very important for you to know, what do I want as a person? Because the people around you will tend to influence your choices or what you want to do in terms of your career, in terms of how you live life. So I think, and I just thought it was important to say that even as the great scattering was happening, I envy the people who knew from the get-go that this is my path, and they were sure about it. Because you can know this is not my path, but you are still like 50-50. Should I still, dip my toes into this other side and see? So I think it was just important that as you get out, and even if you are still in that place and you're wondering what happens after campus, it's important to figure out, what do I want as a person.
I totally agree, and I agree with you, because I also felt that FOMO, because I also started working while we were in fourth year. But at the end of the day, when those PwC interviews are now going on, you already have a job, and so you're not even as invested as your friends in the interview processes, and it gets to a point where you now get dropped because you're really not putting in your 100% into it. And again, as you're saying, at that particular point in time, you're still exploring different options. You're still trying to make sense of what works, what doesn't work. But then there are people who knew, because like some of my friends had really figured out what exactly they want to do. And so for them, they left school, went direct into entrepreneurship. The courses, the personal development classes that they were taking were related to exactly what they wanted to do. And that's a good thing. And I also feel like even for us, honestly, genuinely, it was good, because you get to experience these things and then you decide what you want to do long term based on your current experiences. Having tried, because I feel like I'm the kind of person who, if I didn't try this, I would always have the questions.
100.
Yes, I would always,
100.
yes, like I would always question it. And, even as I saw guys, now moving into these big corporations, having to work until, 10, 11, 12 p.m. into the night, I always wondered with a certain curiosity, would I have thrived in that environment? Even when they say, things get really bad around here, you're still like, would I have thrived?
What if?
What if? But I'm still glad, because life has given me lessons, and I've drawn from those lessons and experiences to build the person that I am today.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So let's have a conversation around that shift into career. And now the proximity has ended. Life is demanding different things from you. Life is demanding that you invest yourself into the career, and suddenly there's no more room for your friends. How do you deal with that as a young person? Because we've dealt with that reality. And as I mentioned, for me, I think it was, as long as it's not related to my career, if it doesn't further me along in this journey that I'm currently in, then we're not speaking the same language. Yes, you're taking a backseat. It got to a point where I even stopped getting invited to things, because they would invite me so much and I would say no, that it's now, the assumption is just she'll say no. So, like, I used to play a lot of FIFA in campus.
You play FIFA?
Yes.
That's so cool.
Yes, I used to play a lot of video games in campus. But then I remember the first few months after we left school, guys would invite me, like, let's meet in town, let's go play video games. And my answer was always no. My Formula 1 teams, like my friends, the guys we used to watch Formula 1 with, I lost all those networks and connections. And my mentor told me that before I left school. But I was like, no, you people that say certain things, you just don't know how to manage your time. But you see, that's the naivety of youth. Because he actually said things to me that are currently happening in my life. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, you are told all these things, just that the naivety of youth doesn't allow you to digest and comprehend the information that is before your eyes. Because he was like, people are going to leave school. You're all going to chase different careers. Life is going to move at a different pace for each and every one of you. And then, you start losing the networks, the group chat starts to fade, some friendships disappear completely. And then life moves on. And now you get into another stage where you're being reconciled, not because you've brought yourselves back together organically. It's because either someone has a wedding, someone got a baby, someone's parents died, and these are the things that are now bringing you back together. So how do you navigate that balance between career and still having thriving friendships and relationships?
Wow. First, let me just gush on your interests. You're just like, Formula 1 and play video games. Like, girl, you got taste. Anyway.
I had taste. I feel like I had
seen you. But yeah, when I think about the grades, the great scattering, as you
Yeah.
have called it.
Yeah.
I think for me, it started even before we were finishing campus. Because
Yeah.
when I was joining campus, I had my friends at home. So me going into campus and now I'm living in school, which is far away from home,
Yeah.
already proximity is
Fades.
already fades.
Yes.
So for even me to maintain my friendships, how can I say it? During my campus days, post high school, let me say that, there had to be a lot of intention. Like, I feel like intentionality is what grounds everything. And intentionality means I care about you enough to make time. You make time for the things that you value.
Yeah.
You will make time. And making time, I'm not saying that now we have a whole day to spend. No, it's the 5 minutes to say, how are you? How are you doing? Are you okay?
Yeah.
So for me, I saw that in my during when I was in campus, because I had moments when my friends from home used to come to see me in campus, and I'd go back home.
That is so lovely.
Yes. So we're still friends to date. So I believe that is one of the major things. But now post campus, as you've said, it's a totally different dynamic. Because remember, as much as my friends are coming here, it's still the dynamics are still almost similar, the same. Because we have what we have. What changes is the luxury of time.
Yes.
The luxury of time is what we do not have post campus.
Yeah.
Why? Because now you have so many things seeking your attention. You have your work. You still have to maintain your social life. You still have to maintain family. Because even family is... I normally say we don't choose our families, but we choose to be friends with our family members. Like with your siblings, you have to choose to be friends. They're your siblings because they do not have a choice.
Yeah.
But for you to be friends with your siblings, it's a choice. And the same way you make that choice, the same thing applies to your friends. So I think for me, what helped, I think it also helped because the friends that I had, we were kind of in the same... we're going the same journey, some of them.
Yeah.
I'm saying some of them because truth is, not all of my friends that we are with in campus, we're still friends to date.
Yeah.
Even post-campus, which we'll get there, things happen as you grow and you find yourself growing apart. Not because anyone did anything wrong, it's just life is happening, you're evolving, you're morphing into someone different. So with the friends that I've been able to keep tabs with to date, there had to be a lot of intentionality. I think I cannot stress that enough. Intentionality, and as you said, choice.
Yeah.
Because being friends with you is a choice. So I will choose to block a time where I can be able to call you, where we can be able to reconnect, where I can be able to show up for you, intentionally setting up dates. And you're like, if it's... So I have one friend of mine who loves calendars. She knows herself.
Yeah.
So she'll be like, Lola, when are we meeting? Okay, I'll put it on your calendar.
Yeah.
So at first I used to be offended because I was like, I was that friend.
Yeah.
So that friend,
Yeah.
the discussion we were having earlier,
Yes.
that friend was like, Connie, you can't just remember.
You can't just remember to be...
I thought I'm important.
Yeah.
But that is intentionality, actually. The fact that somebody is setting apart a specific time to go and just meet with you amidst the chaos and whatever is happening in life. I think that's very important. Also, I think something else that is also important to recognize that even as we grow and as we pursue what we are pursuing, it is okay that you might not be going the same direction with everyone. By that virtue alone, it's okay to allow some friendships to fade. Because I think now the problem with post-campus is you want to have everyone closely. But unfortunately, that would not be the case. The things that hold you together are the fundamentals, ideally. So even if you look at the friendships that you have right now that have stayed, or the friendships that you've had for the longest time, what has kept you together is, are you sharing the same fundamental values?
Yes.
So are your values aligned? Are your journeys aligned? It's the same as I normally equate friendships to relationships because I tell my friends they're my first loves.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that is so beautiful.
I feel because... Let me just gush about them a bit. But the way my friends treat me and the way they're so intentional with me, my friends have set some standard for me personally. So the same way you're in a relationship, we might not be going the same journey. We will never be on the same journey, but are we heading towards the same direction? I think that's the most important thing. Like, ultimately, are we on the same racetrack? Because now it's different when we're on different racetracks. There's no point we can meet now. That will be straining. But I loved what you said at the end. For there to become seamlessness, for there to be a seamlessness and a sameness in terms of our friendship, despite the different paths that we're going to, despite the different things that are happening in our lives, we have to be able to be running towards the same path. So different journeys, but we're on the same path.
We're on the same.
That's the only thing that will ground you. Like the fundamentals, whatever brought you together, are we sharing the same ideals? That's the only thing that will be able to make your friendship stand post campus.
I love that. And let me pose a question to you. What does that intentionality look like? Because I don't like just vague words or just the word itself. What does intention look like in friendships?
Love it. And as I've mentioned, you see that thing that my friend used to do, that I'm booking your calendar to be able to set time up. That is intentionality. Intentionality looks like I'm having a busy day and I did not manage to pick up your call, but I have the courtesy to send a text and call back later on. It's something very subtle, but it shows intention that you called me, I wasn't able to, but I'm reaching back out to you. It's not, sometimes when you talk about these things, we think about grand gestures, but it's in the small things. It's creating time. It's remembering the important things, events in your friends' lives, and showing up when it matters most. Because sometimes also, I was watching a meme somewhere online where this guy was gifting a girl something that she did not want. And it applies to your friendship. So what are the moments that matter in their lives? Are you present? On their graduation day, let's say, for example, am I going to show up for that? They got their first job. What am I going to do about that? They have a milestone in their life. How are we celebrating that? So those key moments that matter. Simple things like birthdays are important,
like
guys.
When your friend gets a child,
am I showing up for them? Am I planning something around that? So you see, it's not intentionality. Intention, ideally, from the word itself, is being there, one, not only when you need me, but when it matters to you as well. Because you see, there's a selflessness that needs to come, even with our friendships, right? That means there's a moment where you have to put their needs before yours, and not
checking each other's energy.
Checking
each other's energy and knowing, how do we focus this energy? Who do we focus it to?
And sometimes there's something we love doing with my friends. So, okay, us babes, I don't know about you men. Maybe you have a men talk about friendship as well. But for ladies, when I call you and I'm going through something, so there's 3 things I ask you. Do you just want me to listen to you at this particular moment in time? Do you just need me to listen, not to say anything? Do you need me to give you advice? As you're speaking, do you want me to retaliate? Or I think those 2, I've forgotten the third one, but those 2 things, like, what do you need in this moment
particular
in time? That's intention.
Or do you just need a hug?
Do you just need a hug? Just need to hold space for you. That's intention. Because when you talk about selflessness, because as a certified yapper, I might want to, you've called me with a problem, and the first thing is I want to problem solve. But I don't need you to problem solve. I just need you to listen.
That is something I had to learn the hard way, because I'm a firstborn. I tend to give advice. If you call me, we're talking about something, shoop, problem solving immediately. But then sometimes that's not what someone needs. They don't need you to solve the problem. They just need you to listen.
And the only way you'll also be able to know these things, I think also a very key but very subtle thing about intentionality, pay attention to your friends. We like saying how, allow me. It's Valentine's season, guys. Allow me to say this. We like saying how men are not paying attention, they're not listening, they'll be able to know. Do you know even your friends need you to pay attention to them? Why? Because your friends are also people. So that means I will be able to anticipate your needs as my friend, and how do I anticipate? I pay attention when we're having conversations. What does that look like? Melvin said she wants to start a podcast. Who is the person who can be able to help her progress that journey? Melvin is looking for a job. Have I seen a job advert that I can send it to her? Melvin mentioned that she'd want some type of shoes. It's her birthday is coming up. What am I doing to be able to get her those shoes? So those are practical ways for you to be intentional. Pay attention to your friends when they're speaking. Be present when you're having moments with them, and act upon it. So that it becomes easier. It becomes rich. So that your friendships feel authentic and feel very, feel nice.
So just to that, your last statement, that changes the dynamic from just quantity in friendships to quality.
Yes.
In the sense that, Lola, when I give you a call for 5 minutes, I leave that conversation feeling enriched, improved. And then 2 things to the discussion and to tie all that you said. My friend says to me, it's not the fact that they let me down, it's the way they chose to let me down.
That's awesome. Yo.
It's not the fact that they let me down, it's how they chose to let me down. Because you could have called me. We decided to meet in town. You're 2 hours late. I have other commitments. It's just you choosing not to pick up the phone and let me know that you're going to be late so that I can adjust my calendar. We're in a different space. We're moving differently.
True.
It's how you choose to show up for them and how you choose to appear and present yourself in their lives that speaks to the value that you associate to yourself with regards to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like what you've said. I felt a bus in my heart. When you talk about the how you love me, I was like, Lola. But which makes me, I feel, sometimes we feel like friendships are just, we undermine the intensity or the gratitude, the gravity rather, that friendships have, that also require us. We're discussing earlier, and I was like, friendships are also a mirror to ourselves. They mirror our strengths, they mirror our weaknesses, and they call for us to do better. And I think for me, the friendships that I've had the longest, be very assured, there are moments we have, we've had our we've ruffled
fair moments
shoulders.
under the sun.
Correct. And those moments I had to sit down and reflect. There are places I needed to do better as a friend. Like, yes, I need to show up better.
And this is where honesty comes in, right? Being honest with yourself and being like, what was my role in that?
Correct.
What role did I play in that situation? As opposed to blaming it all on the other person.
I agree.
Recognizing where you are standing in that particular situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very, you have to do the work as well. The same way you do the work for yourself, the same way you do work for romantic relationships, even your friendships, you need you to do the work. Yes. They need you to do the work so that you are able to show up better for them. And you see, in all these cases, when you're doing the work, it only just makes you a better person. I mean, you get double benefit. You get to be a better person for yourself, and you also get to be a better person and show up better for the people who are close to you and the people that you love. So yeah.
I love that you said that, because my second point was for you to be a good friend, for you to be, I don't want to say perfect. Perfect is such no one can be a perfect. For you to be a good friend, let me just go with that term. You need to be self-aware and you also need to be aware of your friend.
True.
Because the things that you do are going to be from a point of self and from a point of understanding you. If I know that you, Lola, don't like going to nightclubs, then me taking you to nightclubs is putting you in a compromising situation. If I don't take bribes and you're putting me in a situation where you need me to take bribes, then it's time for me to evaluate this friendship and decide, do I still want to keep you in my life? And then have that conversation. Because if you're not self-aware, if you're not aware of your own values, your principles, then how do you communicate that to your friends?
True.
How do you bring that forward? Because, again, you see what you said, friendships have influence in our lives. If I'm the kind of person who doesn't know whether or not I take bribes, then I take a bribe and then I blame you for making me take the bribe.
Shaka. Why am I blaming you?
Yes. Then now, I love something that you mentioned earlier around life is moving at a different pace for each and every one of us.
Yes.
That changes dynamics as well, because Lola, you went into big fours, you now have a car, you now want to start a family, you've even started a side business, this side business is thriving, while I, on the other hand, didn't get a job. I tried going into entrepreneurship, it didn't work. Now the dynamics have changed. There is resentment, there is pain, there is jealousy, there is envy. And we were talking about this earlier, and I was telling you, jealousy and envy shows up in relationships.
Yes.
But sometimes it's coming from a point of pain because we were dealt the same cards. And I feel like you're even the perfect person to have this conversation with, because we went to the same business school.
Yes.
We went to almost the same cluster or same group of high schools.
Yes, we did.
I'm not saying we went to the same high school, but the same group, caliber.
Caliber, yes.
Yes, we went to the same university. We did the exact same classification or major. We both went into marketing. Yes. And so 3 years down the line, your life is looking, just as an hypothetical example, your life is looking much different and much better than mine. How do I deal with that situation? Because I don't even want to hate you, but it's just that life has put me in a very different situation from yours, and I'm just not able to deal with that.
Yeah.
How do we navigate these things in friendship? Because resentment shows. I'm calling you, suddenly you're not picking my calls. Whenever we speak, you're in pain, and I don't know how to deal with that.
Well, I think the most important thing is to acknowledge that these feelings are real. You're not wrong to feel however you feel. The thing is, what do you do then afterwards? Like, how do you act on it, or how do you deal with it? It's you're allowed. I think it's valid to do feel like, my cards are different, but don't stay in it too much. But again, there's something we're discussing, and as I was mentioning earlier, I think it's a blessing when the people around you are succeeding. It just shows that you're next, because you're a sum of the people you surround yourself with.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not as easy as I'm putting it. Sometimes it calls you to actually tell your friend, I'm jealous. I know it sounds mad and it sounds crazy, but it does help. It removes that burden on your shoulder. And even for me as the friend,
I've never looked at it that way.
I know.
It removes the burden from your shoulder.
Exactly. Because we see when I'm the jealous one and I keep carrying the green-eyed monster, because we say jealous is really green.
Yeah.
I can't show up for you fully. That means I cannot, even when we are having conversations, I do not have this, so I can't be objective, because there's something at the back of my head that is preventing me from doing that. So I think sometimes, and my friend does this with me, we have this conversation, like, hey, manze, I feel like you're winning here and I'm not,
getting left behind.
I feel like I'm getting left behind. It's okay to feel that way and to communicate it, so that even I know how to approach you. And even you as the friend who is seemingly thriving, I believe there's also wisdom in how you approach your friends. Because I can't know that this is how you feel and then I'm coming and tell you, now babes, I just bought new land. I feel like you will also have some grace in maybe how you handle or deal with them, and even how you encourage them. But in the same spirit, I believe it is also important for you as the friend who's feeling jealous to have a sit down with yourself, or you're feeling left behind. There's a very important question that you always have to ask yourself. Am I really applying myself to the extent that I think I am applying myself? Because you might feel like I am actually doing all these things and I am putting myself out there, but maybe you're only doing it to a certain extent. Maybe you can be able to do it better. And also, it poses I think it's very good if I see my friend progressing in something. It's an opportunity for you to learn from them. And come and ask you, Melvin, I see that you do this very well. I struggle to do this. How do you do? Teach me how to do it. It calls for humility.
But then that only works where your friend is open to sharing knowledge.
But you say I can't share knowledge if I don't know you need the knowledge.
Yes.
Your friend cannot read minds unless you come to me and ask. The only way you'll know, and is it your friend if they're not sharing knowledge? Is it your friend?
That's the point I was driving at, because that's the question you need to ask yourself. If they're not willing to share the knowledge, are they truly your friend? Especially if the knowledge is not classified.
Exactly. Because I feel we do that with one of my friends. So I'm working on my savings habit, but I have a friend who's really good. My best friend is really good at saving. So how she'll just tell me like 5 months, like, Lola, I feel like I want to buy that. Then she'll go quiet. Then 5 months later, she'll be like, we'll go on a video call. And she's like, I want to show you something. And then boom, she's done it. So it gets me so excited. I'm like, oh my God, you did it. I want to do that. How did you do that? And then she'll be like, now, are you ready for the truth? And I need to be ready for the truth as well. I'm like, babes, you need to learn to put some things aside for the things that matter to you. You need to learn to sometimes jinyime kidogo if you want the extra.
And
so,
you need to be open to learning, because again, when certain people are told the truth, when you're told this is how it actually works, when someone asks me, how do you balance between your 9 to 5, and I'm like, I sleep at 12, I wake up at 4 a.m. Someone doesn't want to hear that. So you also need to be open to learning that truth and be willing to apply those principles if at all you want to match that. And if at all, getting whatever they have in their lives at this cost will make you happy.
But also, it's also important. I love what you said.
Yeah.
I think it's also important, as the thing about comparison is the thief of joy. I think you also need to sit deep with yourself and ask yourself, do I actually really want what they have?
Yes.
Is it really what I want?
And at that cost.
At that cost. Because sometimes, we do things not really because you want it. It's your ego child. It's your ego that's trying to match to this other person.
Yeah.
So you really also need to be very honest with yourself. Because sometimes maybe, like, for example, in my case, maybe I did not want what she bought, but there's something I want to buy, but I need the principles that she has applied so that I can be able to get what I want. So it stops becoming a comparison game. It becomes more than a learning. Because friendships, ideally, you learn from your friendship. You need to be learning from your friendships.
Yes.
It's important that you learn. Otherwise, you're not helping each other. The Bible says, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to be in a position whereby you're building each other. There has to be value. There has to be value exchange.
Yeah.
But for value exchange to happen, there are things you have to make peace with. Like, for you to learn, you need to accept you don't know.
Yes.
And it's very hard to accept that, by then, I don't know these things. I need help. I
Yes.
need you to come and teach me. You need to be humble enough. You need to be teachable so that you can be able to grow and progress. And that's not even a principle of friendship, that's a principle of life. Yeah.
I love it. And again, because just to the earlier conversation, when it comes to certain things like, we're talking about this even earlier, when it comes to jealousy, envy, desire, you cannot be jealous of that which you do not desire. You need to be very clear on that.
Yeah.
And so if there is something that your friend has and you want something similar in your life, it just means there is a level of, I don't know whether to call it, how can I put it? Like something deep in there. There's a sameness. When we search deep down, there is a level of similarity. Yes, there is a level of sameness.
And it makes sense because that's why you're friends. I mean, you're a sum of the people you surround yourself with. So that means our values are aligned, our journeys, we're going in the same direction.
Yes.
It only makes sense for us to want sometimes
similar things. Yes. And just understanding that. Yeah. Okay, then let's move to a discussion around showing up in friendships, because dynamics are changing. And as I mentioned earlier, for me, it was focus on your career, grow your career, everything else is going to follow. Everything else is going to be later in life, whether it comes to romantic relationships, just social relationships as well. And so even the spaces I was putting myself in was networking events, a seminar somewhere, a workshop somewhere, and life will not always be like that. And for me, the wake-up call was a year ago, when the conversations between my friends and I changed. It wasn't just about, hi, how are you? How is work? Conversations started shifting from, how are you? How is work? Where are we going to party tonight? To, my mom is sick. And, just as we're saying, 5 minutes conversation, I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, things like that, yada, yada, yada. 3 months down the line, hi, Melvin, my mom has passed on. Hi, Melvin, my mom is in hospital. And that absolutely breaks your heart, especially the first time around it happened. It broke my heart because my friend called me like 6 months earlier, and they were like, hi, mom is not feeling so well. And you know their parents, just especially if you guys are close friends, this person's parents. Mom is not feeling well. And first time you guys go see her in the hospital, things like that. And then 6 months down the line, the conversation has changed. The dynamics have shifted, and significantly. Because when certain things happen in life, it's not just a conversation, it's not just me showing up, it's showing up in the way that you need me to show up, but it also changes in the sense that none of us have ever been through a situation like this. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how to navigate this current circumstance in your life. And not just to go to the dark side of things. Sometimes it's also around someone had a baby. Hi, my baby is not doing well. I don't know how to deal with a sick baby. I've never had a sick child. And so when that happens, I feel like you have two options. To learn how to ride these tides with your friends, these waves, these new circumstances that you're going through. Or there's the other one as well, avoidance, where you now withdraw. Not because you wanted to, but just because you don't want to have these difficult conversations. You don't want to come head on with these difficult moments. And for me, that was the wake-up call, because it was showing, even in my romantic relationships, it was, no, I'm focusing on my career. I'm building, I'm building wealth. We're doing serious things here. I didn't want the conversation to take a dark turn, but we're having honest conversations today. These are things that are happening. They're with us. They're happening in our lives, in our realities. And they're things that we need to deal with.
True. I don't think it's a dark turn. I think it's the reality, you said, the realities of life. It's a sad reality, but it's true. And allow me to say this, but I feel there's some situations you need God's wisdom to be able to know how to show up.
Yeah.
Because you cannot, as you said, we don't know how to do. We are doing this, and I like that you said we're doing this. We're all doing this for the first time.
Yes.
We're learning. All of us are learning on the job. But the question is, am I learning? And you can choose to learn or to avoid it.
Exactly.
And that lesson will find you somewhere else, and until you learn it, you'll always keep avoiding it. So
I like what you said, because the lessons that you don't learn, the universe keeps bringing them back to you.
Yeah.
They show up in different ways until you learn that lesson.
And you see, in this context of friendship, if I keep avoiding, I'll be left alone. And the sad thing is, when it's my turn, there'll be no one. They'll also be avoiding.
Yeah.
So, not to say that you only show up so that people can show up for you, but if I truly care about you, I might not know how to show up in the way that you need. But am I showing up in the way that I know how to show up? And also learning. To be honest, right now I feel there's a lot of lessons surrounding grief, because grief is a very heavy and sensitive topic.
Yeah.
I think you go learn from people who have gone through grief and just try to see, how do I best show up for a friend? And sometimes it can just be, we think about these things sometimes in the most grand of ways, but presence does a lot. Can I just be there without having to say so much?
Yeah.
Can I mobilize? Can I take something off their hands during that period that they're going through, whatever situation that they are going through?
Yeah.
How can I make their burden more lighter? Again, it stems back to intentionality. Maybe I'm socially awkward. I don't know how to deal with people who are crying, and it's valid. I know it sounds but it's valid.
And it's the reality of life, because
things.
it's the reality of things.
But can I take off that? Can I help take off the financial burden? I cannot take it entirely, but can I mobilize people to help you for this particular thing? Can I make sure that the day that you're grieving, you have time to actually grieve and handle these other things? You're having a baby. Can I organize a baby shower for people to show up for you? Or can I be checking in on you and making sure, as much as you're becoming a mom or a dad, you're still able to have adult time? Because I'm blessed to have a friend who's a mom, and sometimes she just tells me, I've Googled 1,000 times. I need to take to have a conversation with an adult. I need an adult conversation, and that is showing up. It's not in the most grandest of things, but it's in the moments that matter to them. It's checking in. It's sending them gifts. That I was with my cousin recently, and she was telling me how she had a friend who was, she's a mom, and she's had a friend who was getting a child as well. And she's like, people sometimes focus on the child so much, they forget about the mom. So how can I be able to make sure that I'm showing up for the mom as well? Do I have if I'm bringing my gifts, do I have a gift for that just focuses on the mom? The mom alone. Exactly.
My cousin called us out on that, just as the family as a whole, because she got a baby, and every time we went there, it was, how's baby, how's baby, how's baby, how's baby. And then eventually she was like, I'm not a person.
Yeah.
She's a last born, but still. She was like, I'm not a person. don't you guys see me? How come no one is asking me how I'm doing? And sometimes you just also need to like call out people on certain things. But I'm just reflecting on that experience and what you're saying in terms of showing up and just being present, because on some days you won't have the words. We are navigating things that are new things in our lives. And some of these lessons, by the way, Lola, as you're saying, the universe will keep teaching you certain lessons. Some lessons are timeless, because even when I look at my own parents, they are older in life, but we have a family WhatsApp group, and some days, some weeks are a bit dark even for them, because they're like, so and so passed on, so and so passed on, and now they need to show up for this person's spouse, because again, remember, now they tend to move as a unit. And so you're friends with couples, and now someone's partner is no longer there, and they need to show up for this other person. And so some lessons are timeless. And as you're saying, some days you won't have the words. I won't have the words to comfort you. I won't even have the words to congratulate you. But can I just show up and be there for you? Some days I will even lack the energy, but can I just come and sit next to you when the time allows? And I feel like even as we discuss adult friendships are categorized by conflict. And so it's not always easy to show up even when you really want to face the discomfort, because then there's a difficult conversation to have because you let me down. The reality is, when all this was happening, you let me down. And we need to start from there. We can't just push things under the rug, or rather for me, I don't push things under the rug and we just go from where we left it, unless then it's not significant or you don't have as much value in my life as I would want to say that you have. So how do you just now deal with these new situations that arise from a place of conflict? Because again, as we grow up, things are changing, values are changing, situations are changing. We used to, like, for example, if we used to party a lot and we were night owls, we were always in the club, and now I have a child and you want me to show up in that same space, there's going to be a conflict because you want me to show up as this person, but then I can no longer show up as this person. I need to show up differently based on where I'm currently in life.
Yeah, I think conflict is a very interesting topic, but I like what you have said. Are we really that close enough for us to have this conflict? So one, I think you choose your battles wisely. So you categorize, not everyone is your friend. I think that's one thing people need to understand, because sometimes I feel we go around calling people my friend, but are we really friends?
Like, you need to differentiate.
Exactly.
Are you an acquaintance
or are you a friend? Yeah, because for friendship to thrive, and I'm using that friendship specifically, there has to have been conflict, because conflict is what brings out. We cannot always be aligned fully in everything unless one person is pretending. Same to a relationship. Conflict is healthy. I mean, even Jesus and his disciples had conflict. So therefore, I feel like conflicts are healthy in relationships, in friendships rather, and then how you handle it then becomes the next thing. So one thing's for sure, for as long as you love someone, and I'm talking from a point where I love my friends, it is a guarantee that your friends are going to hurt you in one way or another. It is a guarantee that your friends are going to disappoint you or let you down, and therefore you work backwards. Why? Because it's expected that people who you love are the ones who are going to hurt you, because they hold such value in your life, and because they're simply human. But how you respond to that makes the difference, and I think it boils down to how deep is our friendship. One, is it worth fighting for? I believe even in friendships, ideally, there are fights where you do want to fight for it to ensure it continues, but there are other fights simply because where we are going right now is just very different. It's okay to just say, maybe we've come to the end of the road, hashtag boys to men.
Oh, goodness.
So and I know it's very hard, but I think it's important to understand that not all friendships are going to make it to forever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, for one reason or another. But there are some friendships that actually need to make it to forever.
Yeah.
They are worth fighting to get to forever. And how do you handle this conflict?
What's the difference between the two?
I'd go back to what you said at the beginning, the fundamentals. the moment our fundamentals change, then it becomes hard.
I love
because fundamentals is what defines you as a person. So me wanting you to change what your fundamentals are is me asking you to change who you are. That's the most unfair thing you can ever do to a person.
Yes.
If in this particular point your values or the things that you hold dear are different from what I hold dear, and they're just too separate that we cannot come into agreement, it's safe then everyone goes their own way. Not because of bad blood or anything. It's just because in this time we are on different paths. It's better we go differently. Maybe in the future we might meet somewhere, but of now, let's just go separate. It's better that way. It's more amicable that way. Instead of one person trying to change for the other. But don't get me wrong, there are places where compromise also needs to come in. And in places of compromise, you'll realize your values and who you are as a person still remain intact. I'm not asking you to change who you are as a person. It's not affecting the core of who you are. You're still maintaining who you are, but I can be able to adjust some of the things. Your non-negotiables are not changing. So what happens if even with this particular friend who you are going on the same direction and everything, conflict happens? Because trust can be broken. It has been broken a couple of times. Words can be said, and especially in friendships, I feel words are I love words. I write a lot.
Oh, you've told
My
me
business
that
is about words.
Yes.
Once you say something,
and the
you can't.
interpretation of words.
Yeah. And once you say something, you honestly cannot take it back. And this I had to learn the hard way, because I got into conflict with one of my friends because I said something and I was like, because I'm angry. But your emotion or your situation in a moment does not justify character, because that's a character flaw. That's not a moment flaw. Because as much as I am angry, how I deal with that anger and how I manage it speaks to who I am as a person. People will not forget what you do. People will forget what you do or what you say, but people will never forget how you made them feel. How you make someone feel in a moment is very key. So despite your excuse, your emotions in a moment is not an excuse for bad behavior. Yes, that was the statement I was looking for.
Your emotions
in a moment is not excuse for bad behavior. So despite what you're feeling, you have to control how you behave. You are responsible for your reaction. You just can't act out of character because I'm feeling a type of way. Because feelings are fleeting. They come and they go. But how you make someone feel in that moment, that stays with them. The words that you tell that person, it stays with them. It's, for example, imagine you're friends with someone and then they just say something out of pocket. They comment on, hey, excuse me, no one has you. Like, you know, those words that, especially they stick with you, they trigger your insecurities, or they make you even question yourself. They hurt, they hurt. And I think for those particular moments when such a conflict happens, you as a person, and sometimes also your egos are very high and you're like, but alinifanya, it's important to calm down. And I like what you said earlier. What was my role in this conflict happening, and how can I do better? If that friendship is important to you, that relationship is important to you, you have to own up to your part. They too have to own up to their part, because it takes two to tango as well. It's not, the work has to be on both sides when there is conflict. Because for conflict to happen, it takes two for that particular conflict to happen, unless just one person is malicious. But for conflict to happen, all of you had a role to play in that happening. So is everyone owning up, and are we intentionally or actively working better to be better people? Because it's not just a matter of telling Melvin, I'm sorry, I said that. Is it showing in your actions, in how you're moving forward? So I think that's very important. And also just having grace for people. And once you realize people are going to fail you one or another, you'll have grace for them. But grace is not an excuse for you to keep doing the same things over and over again. Also, you notice patterns. So you asked a good question. When do you know that it is time for me to go my own way? When it's now a pattern and it's who they are. Because if it's one mistake, you will not repeat that mistake again. But if it's something you constantly keep, I have to constantly keep telling you, then there's no excuse for that. That's just who you are. And as we said, I don't change who you are. And if you're okay, this statement people like throwing out, but nakuanga hivyo. No, you learned. Everything you are, you learned. And if you're not willing to adjust, yes, if this relationship is not important for you to adjust that bit of you, then naomba nijiondoe kidogo.
Naomba nijitoe. No, but that's a very powerful statement right there. And the fact that, this conversation, Lola, harder said than done. Harder said than done. Because even when you come to challenging your friends, when it comes to dealing with conflict, just as you're saying, I have to be willing to address these issues with me. When you wrong me, I need to be able to come to you and say, Luala, 1, 2, 3 things happened and I didn't like the way you reacted to this, or I don't appreciate the way you did 1, 2, 3. And I have to know you enough to know that you're open to this. Because think about it, when you're the one saying these words, it's easy. It's easy for me to come and tell you, Luala, by the way, yesterday you did 1, 2, 3 things and it didn't come out nicely. I didn't feel good about it. But think about it when you're receiving those words.
As I have somebody who has received them before, it's not good. It's not good at all.
Yeah, but you still.
But it is important.
And yes, that's where learning and growth comes in, because you're both willing to embrace the situation, take the learnings, and then move on from there.
And I feel it's beautiful when somebody actually comes and tells you, you've wronged me this way, and I want you to do better, because that means that person, by the time I'm calling you out, I still want you in my life. So for you to be in my life, it's important for you to change. But if I'm just like, oops, that's how you are.
Yes, because otherwise, then with our generation, it's just ghosting. I just go ghost mode.
Chop.
And now, the worst thing about that is, if you ghost me, I'm left wondering, was it me? Was it not me? Is there something I could have done? And so that's just also the other differentiation, like what relationships are worth keeping. And if a relationship, then it's time for this relationship, like it's come to its end, how do we approach that? Because that's the other reality. We're in that generation where, even with technology, which is supposed to be bringing us together, it's so easy to draw apart and just not have those conversations like at all. And just the friendship, it ended from a point of, okay, did I do something wrong? She's no longer picking my calls. So how do we approach that? Depending on the, seasonality also, because I feel like friendship has seasons.
True, that's
Friendship
true.
has seasons. We might be friends because we used to be in campus together, but that season has ended. We used to be in a running club together. I hurt my knee. I'm no longer running. That's a season by itself. I'm in a season where I'm probably learning. We're just talking about CIM and marketing courses. We're probably friends because we used to take the same classes. And that's just the reality again of life, where we need to appreciate the fact that life is composed of seasons. We'll be friends because of certain seasons in our lives. We'll be friends maybe because our children go to the same schools. And once that season ends, then those friendships also kind of phase out with that season. So how do you deal with that seasonality and the fact that some friendships will come to an end.
Yes.
Other friendships are going to evolve. But for the friendships that need to be put to rest, how do we deal with those situations?
I'm sitting here. I know. I'm just like, am I the right person to answer this one? I'll drop you off now. I'm lying. I'm messy. I'm not messy. But okay, this is a hard one, because I don't think initially I used to believe in, let's come together, let's talk, an amicable break. It's more or less like a breakup, and breakups hurts even worse than romantic.
If I can cut you off as you put your thoughts together right there, because I was watching this episode by Adele Onyango and Janet Mbugua, and they were talking about adult friendships and the way friendships come to an end. And she was talking about her bridal team, the lineup. Like, they're no longer in contact, those friendships ended, and it was not one person, it was everyone. And that broke my heart, because that's hard. I can't imagine a scenario where I'm no longer in touch with, even right now, with my current friends. Like, these seasons are coming. And right now, I've already seen some of them, because some of my friends, you try to reach out, you're calling them, but there's no response. And this is a season that is coming to a close. And it's not easy. So...
hey, that's you put me in the fires.
It's okay.
We're
having an honest conversation, and a vulnerable one at that.
I'll talk to my experiences and the friendships that were really close to me and how they ended. Some were messy and I regret how they happened, but others just faded away. And when I talk to that, even the ones that just faded away, you'll realize as we spoke about fundamentals, the more your fundamentals shift and become different, it happens naturally. I don't stop talking to you because now I don't talk to you or because I'm a better person. No, it's just because
and it's not even, sometimes it's not even a
it's
choice.
not even not you just share different things right now and you're not going the same direction, so we have less things to talk about, if you're pursuing different things. Because ideally, with what makes a friendship is the conversations that you have with your friends, the moments that you share together. But if right now where you want to hang out is not where I want to hang out, what you talk about is different from what I want to talk about. So you'll find that naturally it tends to fade off. But there are those situations where something actually happened, like something major, that cannot make you go, like, it can be meant, unfortunately. And now looking in hindsight, in the situation that happened for me, there was a better way I would have handled it. One, it would have been better to maybe have a confrontation, which is very hard to do. Just coming to tell you, I didn't like how you did this and this. It made me feel X, Y, Z. And moving forward, I do not think I would want to pursue this any further. Like, but then again, even as I say this, I'm like,
it takes a lot of grace, honestly, Lorna. It takes a lot of grace because I've been there and we both parties knew I'm wrong. Like, I knew I'm wrong in the way I reacted, and they knew they were wrong in what they said, but ego gets in the way.
It does.
Ego gets
even
in the way.
As I'm saying this, I didn't do this. I'm saying I didn't do.
It's a learning and growing conversation, because even when I think to some of those friendships that just ended abruptly and in a bad way, it was just ego.
It's true.
The game was just the game of ego.
And there was no grace. There was no empathy. There was no sympathy in how those situations were handled. It was very much self-seeking. It was always about, I am hurt. I there's a lot of but in a friendship, it goes, you're handling another human being. And as I was saying, all of us, despite what I've done, God loves all of us same. And God commands. It is a commandment to love everybody. Like, it's a commandment. It's not something. A command means it has to be there. And if I do love you, Melvin, there's a way I'll approach you, or I will handle you with grace, no matter what has happened. And again, allow me to just say, only God can be able to deal with your emotions in a moment and allow you to center yourself, bring you back to yourself, and give you the grace to go and speak to that person or handle that situation with wisdom. Because you'll need wisdom. Why am I saying this? I believe even for the friendships that ended up badly, maybe they're not the same person that they were, and you don't know where this journey called life leads. So ideally, I don't think anyone wants to end relationships on such a bad note or a.
And because again, just as you're saying, you don't know where life is going to put you tomorrow. You might find that the same person you guys had a conflict with is now your neighbor. And you have a family with kids and a husband, and the kids' school is just there. And so you can't do a move and run away from this situation. So in however much we want, to end, like, it's not about ghosting. It's not about the mess and the chaos. It's just finding that middle ground, and that requires a lot of maturity
and grace and grace, a lot of maturity and grace to be able to handle it. But ideally, it all works out at the end of the day. I don't think, unfortunately, with how life is, you also cannot control the other party. So you just make sure, for you as the person. Because I might want to say that I want this to end amicably, blah blah blah. But somebody wants, blows for blows, fire for fire, and you don't have the fire in you. So it's important also to realize you can only control so much. So you control what you can. Focus on what can I control in this moment. Can I avoid the situation? If avoiding is the wisdom at the moment, avoid. If
wisdom is to burn the bridge,
burn the bridge. Sometimes you don't even need to have the conversation. The action was the conversation. Whatever transpired for you to get to that moment was that was the communication you needed. Sometimes you don't need to have sit downs and talk about how now I am cutting you off, because is it helping you? Is it helping me? It is not adding any value. But if I'm distancing myself, maybe you are close, and maybe it's something that you did obliviously and you've done over and over again. Maybe there's need to have that conversation. But if it was just outright somebody did you wrong, protect your peace. Walk away. Look, just
there's a statement that I love, as long as your heart is in the right place.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, the other thing you can never do is you can never lie to yourself.
Yeah.
You
True.
can lie to
True,
the
true,
world,
true.
but you can never lie to yourself.
Agreed.
And so if my heart, I am at peace with what is going on, those internal conversations with Melvin, when I sit down at the end of the day and I'm okay with that, then happy. Yes, but as I said, you're doing something amazing. Your business, just when I saw it, my goodness, it just blew my mind. I knew we had to have this conversation because you're going to have an impact in people's lives.
Amen. Thank you.
And today I want us to have a conversation around the same, because it is so powerful, especially when I saw some of those messages, when I saw what you're trying to create. But I don't want to jump the gun and speak on your behalf. I want you to tell the story.
Okay.
Because it is your journey and it is our journey.
Yes.
I want you to be the one to put it out there in the world.
Alrighty.
But I loved them, honestly. I feel like there's no way for me to explain it. Okay, fine. You go, then I'll share my opinions of what I thought about it once you're done.
Thank you. So the business that we are talking about, my business that started recently, is called Hearts in a Jar. If you can, as you can be able to see here on this
back
corner,
to the team so that we can have some interactive.
Oh God, let me just pick it here. I think it's more. Yes, please pick one up. This is ideally the package, but this is the name of the brand. So if I give the story of how this business started, and I love that we're talking about friendships, and because the genesis of it was a friendship. So I have one of my close friends, and it was her birthday, and I was looking for a gift to give her, and I wasn't sure what I'd give her per se. But then I remembered how, as friends sometimes, as we've been talking about in this podcast, life does get busy at some point, and we might not be able to show up for our friends in a moment, but they need that help in that particular moment. So we have this bad habit with that friend of mine. If I call you and you do not answer, don't call you. If you call me at a later time, imagine isha. So you're pointing me.
I was even telling you this earlier. You just go into a crash.
Exactly.
You crash out, and all you want is your friend
at that point,
moment,
and they're not there, and it's not intentional, because I'm like, I'm in a business meeting, I'm at work, I really can't help it to not be there for you. It's not intentional for me not being there for you, but I need you to be there. So when that clicked in my mind, I got her a scripture jar. So these are the more modified ones. The first one was just handmade. And even at that particular point, she was going through her faith journey. That's why I chose the scripture jar. And what these jars do, they're ideally emotional jars. They answer to your emotion in a moment. And for this one specifically, it points you to God. Because, God is able to deal with somebody's heart better than any human would. I could have a conversation with Melvin right now and I'm feeling low, but I'll still go home and I'll still feel low. It won't go away. But from personal experience, God has the ability to take that away.
And I feel like spirituality as a whole, because we're speaking to a bigger audience, spirituality as a whole as a way of grounding you, even in your worst moments.
I agreed.
Yeah.
And so that's when I decided to gift her this scripture jar, this emotional jar, so that whenever she feels, so if you can look at it here, it's very, I can just maybe open one. It's color coded. It's ideally color coded notes, and these notes are color coded depending on what you feel in a moment. So if I come today and I'm feeling grateful, I'm feeling worried, I'm doubtful, I'm feeling sad, I'm angry, there's a note and there's a scripture to answer to that feeling in a moment. And when you read it, I believe God will be able to minister to your heart. You'll feel a bit better. You'll feel lighter. You'll have strength to be able to go through with your day. And note that emotions are very powerful, but at the same time, they're very fleeting.
No, that is true.
They're emotions, because it's emotions that make us have conflict even in our friendships. It's emotions that make us cut people off immediately without even giving it time to simmer. So ideally, this just stand in that gap to help ground your emotions, to help communicate, reassure you, and just let God deal with your inner man, for lack of a better word. So when I started out, I only had the scripture jar, but as time went by and the thought lingered, and I was like, this there are people who are actually going through a lot, and there's more that this business can do, and therefore I created more jars. So for example, we have an affirmation jar. I think I have been misusing this one a lot personally.
And I hadn't even noticed this, but I've noticed each of them has a different message.
Yes, they do have a different message, because you see, for the scripture jar, ideally would be ideal for somebody who's in their faith journey or is looking to start their faith journey. An affirmation just stands in when you know your insecurities tend to come up a lot. Remember, even when we're talking about jealousy in our friendships, those are some of our insecurities that get pointed out or get amplified as courtesy of the relationships that we are in or the friendships that we are in, or even the fear that comes with new spaces. You're starting a new job. So we have the affirmation jar to help you deal with, to affirm you in that particular moment. And it's Valentine's season.
Words of affirmation.
Well, so I also created a love note jar.
Ooh,
just for lovers as well, you know. Long distance people, I'm not hinting to you, but but there's also, so the love note jars, I have two versions. There's one that's for friends, because ideally we've been talking about friends the whole time, and as I said earlier, I feel like my friends are my first love. I know they're feeling all the sense of wherever they are, but when I cannot show up for that friend of mine at that particular time, this note can come in place when they need to feel loved, when they need to feel like they trust themselves, they need somebody to stand in the gap. You can give them a love note jar. And I also have kwa wapenzi, Valentine's, I know CBK did the thing, but don't worry, we got you.
We got you.
So we do have.
I feel like we did the whole,
I know.
like they had put them so nicely, and then we've
just, but it's okay. So you have a love note jar for lovers, and I think it's important, even when with your person, you know, sometimes how guys say, I want to tell her I love her, but what words can I use to tell her I love her?
The words are there.
The words are there. And they can answer to you. And what I love about it, and even this specific one, when I was creating it, there's conflict even in relationship. So how do you handle conflict? Because I love God, I will point you to God. And that's why I love the blue one that says we are healing together. And there's peace in us. Because we are flawed human beings.
Can we open one?
Yes, we can. Which one do you want us to open? Because I know we have a couple. We can, because we can open the love note one for the lovers, or we can open the affirmation one.
I want to open an affirmation.
Say less. So we can do it practically, so that people get a taste of what these jars do.
And I love the design, honestly. I love the rustic feel. I just hope that it's easy to open.
It is very easy to open. No,
issues with,
it's easy to easy. Very easy to easy access,
I have
guys.
I have issues with, you know, I take juice to my neighbor's house for them to open it for me.
No.
So now, depending on,
if you check here, there are various emotions. So I don't know how you feel. So depending on what you feel, there's a color towards it.
Today I feel thankful.
Thankful is color?
Yellow.
So there's a yellow note, so you can pick a yellow note.
Yes, for the days. Okay, can I just read the whole of it? Affirmation jar, a pause to breathe, realign, and remember what's true. For the days you forget how far you've come.
Yes.
Oh.
All right, words, guys.
So today I feel thankful. Let us.
Let me hold this for you.
Okay. Let's see. Let's
love it.
Oh goodness. Let gratitude become the rhythm that steadies your days.
Yeah. Tell me, how does it resonate with you? You're feeling grateful this day.
It's just because there are days, when I read this, there are days that are filled with so much turmoil that you actually forget the things you've done, how far you've come, the friendships you have, the love that is in your life. And so on those days, let gratitude be the rhythm that steadies that day, that grounds that day. I feel like I'm in a season where grounding is a thing. Getting grounded is a thing.
And you did not, let it be known, you did not pre-select any note. It was very random.
No, we did not select it, but I just feel like on days when you forget that there is love, on days that, I was just telling you this last week, I crashed out, like massive crash out. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
And on that day, I wish I had this note, because it would just have been like, I'm grateful for the things that have happened in my life. I'm grateful for Cloud Stories. I'm grateful for friends that like you who show up when it really counts. I'm grateful for my sister. I'm grateful for my editor. You know, I'm just grateful for all these people that are in my life and that are giving me the support that I currently need.
Oh.
We did not prepare that. That was not scripted. But I love the notes.
And that's the thing. You see, the beauty with notes and words is today you've read it and you've interpreted it that way.
Yeah.
Tomorrow you will read it and it will be a totally different. It will be the same note, but the interpretation will be so different because what you'd be going through in that particular moment would be different.
Yeah.
And that's what I love these jars about, because they're timeless. You can pick them from time to time again, and that message will resonate to you. It will resonate with what you're going through in that particular moment. And I feel like it's a beautiful gift. I believe I created a beautiful gift
you did.
Allows people to hold space and deal with their emotions in a better way. It's a better way to process what you're going through. It's a better way to just get through life. And more so, and I'll say this unapologetically, it's also a way for you to reconnect with God, because I believe you cannot do anything without Him. And He's the one who will be able to actually ground you. When your world is shaking, when things are going left, right, center, He's the one who will be able to center you back into the right into where you need to be. Yeah.
You know, when I asked you about the messages, you actually gave me a reference to the words in the Bible.
Yes.
Because the Bible is timeless.
Yes.
What I read yesterday is going to resonate very differently when I read it a year from now.
Correct.
When I read it 10 years from now. And that just ties even to the conversation that we've had today, because honestly, I feel like this is a timeless conversation. Some of the things that you said in today's episodes will linger with us, you know, for even 10 years down the line. I'll listen to this and I'll remember certain things. So I'm really grateful.
Thank you for
the opportunity. Do you want to open another jar?
As well.
Yeah, maybe for the lovers, you are really, because I think this episode is going to drop on Valentine's Day. Yeah, no, actually it's going to be the 14th, right?
Oh.
14th is a Saturday.
Yes. Oh, yes. Wow. Valentine's Day.
Yes, exactly.
Get
so
your lovers. Love not jar.
Yes.
I think I'll go with the green one that says "Love meets you here," and let me just give a story around it. So the green one, when I was coming up with this, was trust. Ideally, was the anchor for that. And there are moments when you will doubt your relationship.
Wait, no, take me a step back before we go there. Take me a step back. You came up with all these things.
We thank God. Yes.
ChatGPT. No.
We thank God. Let me just say we thank God.
Take a moment. Voila. No. Take a moment. Take a moment to appreciate that you actually came up with all this. Like, these are your words.
Most of them are, but I've verified. But yes, I've got every note that's in every jar. I have personally gone through each and every one of them. I have thought through each and every single jar that I have created, because to me, this is not just a gift. Yeah. This is hope, this is grounding, and this is a moment for you to meet with God.
Please don't dismiss that. Take a moment to actually be in that moment, okay? When you get home,
I will.
Take a moment to be in that moment.
This is not meant to be a crying.
No, and
I feel I'm getting scary.
No, but genuinely, when you get home, take a moment to appreciate everything that you've done. Yeah,
I will.
I won't make you cry.
Okay, thank you. No tears today. We are meant to be talking about friendship. But so I think for me, especially for this, I'm very passionate. As you know, I love love. Yes. I love the concept of love simply because God is love. I mean, so I believe that it's a very strong emotion, and the union of people together is very sacred, and therefore it needs to be protected. So even when I was coming up with this, there's a moment in your relationships, your friendships, your marriages, where it gets a bit shaky, and you need to be reminded that, you know, you didn't make a wrong choice in choosing the partner that you chose. If you chose your partner correctly and with God, because sometimes you make mistakes there. So if you know you're in a healthy relationship and you love this person, because also, you know, as we said, relationships are mirrors to ourselves. They mirror our insecurities and things we don't know. And when those emotions rise up, we forget.
You say something, it hits me differently. I'm not okay with this. I am not okay with this.
And so I think we need reminders in those particular moments as to why we are here, why we are doing this, and also finding grace. So I think I'll choose the one that says love meets you here, because this Valentine's season, may love meet you here. And I'll just read what's on top of the love note jar for lovers. It says, your heart knows who it chose, a gentle reminder that you are loved, wanted, and never alone. Through every high and every low, my love stays close to you. You know?
You are saying we should not cry, eh?
Yes, we're not crying. Okay. And so, on the green one that says love meets you here. So if you open it, okay, so I know this Alaba has not gifted me, but if it was me being gifted, okay, it simply says that you're allowed to pause, to breathe, and to simply be. And I think that's very, in a world where we are constantly being told to change who we are, to morph in our relationships, that affirmation from your partner that just reminds you, you're allowed to just exist in this relationship. You're allowed to just be who you are, I think is very powerful. I believe is very powerful.
For me, what you just said right there, you're allowed to pause and just be. Because in the world of today, we're constantly chasing thrill. And sometimes we can just forget to settle down and just be. Even in relationships, you're constantly seeing someone's relationship on TikTok, someone's relationship on Instagram, and forgetting that what is out there on social media, or even what you're seeing when you're in public, is not necessarily how those relationships look like. And so sometimes it's okay for you to just take a deep breath and appreciate that, number one, you do have the love, and that this love is for you.
Yeah, and even I'm thinking about it differently. Let's say words can be interpreted differently. If I was to be gifted such a gift, and this was the message that I was reading, let's say, for example, I'm having a bad day and things are just, my insecurities are to the rooftop, and I'm questioning everything that I've done, and I take this love note jar and I allow love to meet me here, and I read this message that tells me that I'm allowed to pause, to breathe, and simply be. First, I will crash out, I will not lie. I will cry at the magnitude, because this allows you to be able to communicate and to your partner that you see them, that you love them, that you're there, that your love is steady, in whatever relationship that you're in. So you get a jar, you get a jar, you get a jar.
Yes, everyone gets a jar.
Everyone gets a jar.
Never alone, just because
yes,
it's Valentine's
please,
Day.
do live never alone.
Okay. Never alone. Okay, let's see.
Alrighty.
Just because I feel like my parents are at home, you know. Your story ingine. Okay. You are never truly alone. My heart walks beside you.
Hey! Okay, so I know I created these things, but even me when I hear them, I'm like,
are you going to make
I
me
feel like crying?
No,
I won't cry. We're not crying on this episode. So anyway, this is for lovers. We are not lovers. They're for lovers, please.
No, that's just up to my heart right now.
Because I feel like
no, that's it.
Okay.
Let's go home, Lola.
So I think this is a wrap. It's a wrap for this.
It's a wrap. Let's go home.
But let me just speak. I think one module that's very close to my heart. Because I'm a person who's been, imposter syndrome has been something I've struggled with for the longest time. Now I feel like crying because as I talk about it, I know I'm meant to cry. But as someone who's gone through imposter syndrome for the longest time, and also recently, I switched careers, not careers, but industries. And when I joined, I think I was very scared. I doubted myself a lot. And they say don't get high on your own supply, but I've been getting high on my supply.
It's allowed once in a while.
And for the affirmation jar, especially the orange one that says brave, because when you need to just get that courage to move on or to carry on with your day, and you need something to affirm you, the orange ones have been coming through for me. So allow me to be biased.
Allow me to say, get high on your own supply. I was just telling you earlier how Cloud Stories is challenging me as a person. In terms of my beliefs, the things that I'm doing. Get high
on your own supply, please. Which is wahenga hawamini, but oh well.
All right.
So when I look at the affirmation jar, and now that's talked right now, it's brave. And what this one says is okay. No, you see this way. I don't like opening this just in
don't
public.
Make me cry.
It says
I don't cry.
Because I'm sorry, I feel it's gonna be in your heart. But it says, strength doesn't mean you don't cry. It means you keep going anyway. Corporate buddies, you know how much you crash out in the toilet. So Get yourself one. Because we've equated crying to weakness, but it doesn't mean that you're weak in any way. And it gives you the strength to go on despite what you're feeling in a moment. So I will stop opening this jars at this point, because this will turn into a crying session. And that is not the goal.
You know, when I think about this message, it's just me last week. You know, when I was telling you about, guys, I know you're talking about this crush, but it was a massive one.
It was a massive one.
After that, it just puts me in the right place. It's exactly what I needed. I needed to crash out for me to now be okay. Yeah. And I feel like that's when my year really started. When I crashed out, it's when my year truly started.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So I think follow Hearts Inner Jar on TikTok. Follow Hearts Inner Jar on Instagram. And get yourself a jar. And just know these jars are not just for you to gift people, even for you as yourself. As you've had, I use my jars, and you see that never alone.
Last week's episode was all about self-love and self-acceptance. It starts with you.
It has to start with you. So get yourself a jar. If you're in your healing journey, we also have a healing jar for you. But my prayer is that for whoever gets these jars, that the jars are able to hold space when a human being cannot be able to hold that space. And even when you yourself cannot be able to hold that space for yourself. I was just sharing this today before the set starts, that we are our biggest critics, and sometimes we are the ones who put ourselves down. But it's important that we also hold space for ourselves, to affirm ourselves, to remind ourselves, you're the shit, you're that girl, you're doing well.
This is so impactful. Yani, that's a love note that I opened. You're never truly alone. I am always working. That is. Yeah. This is what happens when now emotions. This is emotion right here. An emotion in friendship.
Yeah.
All right. I have loved the conversation.
Likewise.
Thank you for showing up today.
Thank you for inviting me.
I always love having conversations with you. When you say why people are your friends, I think one of the reasons we are such good friends is just because we can sit down and have great conversations.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
not just surface level conversations, but we can have deep conversations that challenge you. Because I remember telling you before the show today, it's not just about having a conversation and pushing you to my side. It's about having different perspectives and letting the conversation open a path, or rather charter a path for a new beginning, for a transformation, or sometimes just to have the conversation linger for it to help you tomorrow. I am super grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I don't know how to summarize today's conversation, honestly, guys. I just feel like, just as I said before, the lessons that we've shared here are timeless.
Yeah.
The result of this conversation cannot be put into one sentence. So allow me to leave today's conversation at that. For interpretation, for every person to take this message and transform their lives based on their interpretation of today's conversation.
Love it.
It's a wrap. This is Cloud Stories Africa. To all our consistent listeners, we're super, super grateful. To anyone who's new and you liked the content, please like, share, and subscribe. New episodes drop every Saturday.